Hold up.
I hope you're having a great day. I want to talk, and I hope you had a great weekend as well. Today, I want to talk about something that we come across in most of our consults with people across the world. They find it difficult to say no. How many of you find it difficult to say no? It's not your fault. For the longest time, no has been stereotyped as a very negative word. We don't want to say no because if we say no, what will people think of us? How will people judge us if we say no? Will people be happy with us if we keep saying no? Will people not love us anymore if we say no? Well, today, if you want to empower yourself, you want to empower your own personal wellness, you have to learn the art of saying no. Now, there's a way to do it. You say no with arrogance, you say no with ego, with anger, with the wrong tone. That's going to affect you. But when you say no with assertiveness, because you know what you want to do, and at the same time, you know what you do not want to do. The first step of learning to say no is knowing what serves you. When you don't know what your priorities are, when you don't know what your value system is, when you don't know how your day is supposed to go, because you've not planned it or you've not visualized it, okay? Then you can't use that as a benchmark to say no. So today, if I've planned my day, I have to see 20 patients, I have 2 calls with my team, X, Y, Z, okay? I know that's a plan in my mind. And someone comes and says, hey, Luke, I need you to come out with me for coffee or for dinner, or can we discuss this project? I know right then I need to say no, because it's not aligned with what is planned in my day. Of course, if there's an emergency, we break plans, we break boundaries to accommodate that particular emergency. But for everything else, we have to know exactly what we want. Is it aligned with our deepest desires? Is our day planned? When you just jump into your day without planning it, that's what happens. Then you don't know how to react. And most of us, because a lot of people have low self-esteem, or we're unconsciously behaving as people pleasers, we just say yes. So someone comes and says, hey, I want you to come for this party on Saturday. The immediate thing is yes in your mind, even if you've not processed it. Am I free? Can I go? But you want to say yes because you want to please that person. You don't want to come up with a no directly to them. So what happens is if we go through life saying yes, and actually we feel that we don't want to do it, or we should have said no, what does that build up? A residual emotion called resentment. That resentment then soon becomes frustration. So you have to understand that yes, you can put other people's needs ahead of yours, but not without giving your needs the importance it needs. You can't help someone if you can't help yourself. So a lot of people with very low self-esteem and very low confidence levels, or people who all the time want to be liked by everyone, which is not possible. Everyone cannot always like you, okay, the way you want to be liked. But if you are those kind of people, then you will end up saying yes because you want to please people. So when someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, you say yes because you want to win appreciation, or you want to win a good word from them, or acknowledge from them, or sometimes even just attention from them. But that ruins you because it leaves you with a residual emotion called resentment. I'm not saying that you got to go around life saying no. Sometimes if we want to go the extra mile, we want to learn something, yes, we got to push through. We got to, sacrifice certain things and work hard and work smart and all of that stuff. If you're learning something and you just use poor attitude of saying no, no, no all the time, you're never going to learn. But my point is personal empowerment, something that a lot of people don't have. You've planned your workout, okay? It's planned from 3:30 to 4 in the evening. And now someone calls you up and says, oh, I'm only in your state for about 2 days, and please join me and stuff like that and whatever. Now, if your workout is important to you, okay, and that friendship is also important for you, you won't say yes immediately. You'll say, hey, listen, I have a plan right now. Can we meet? You'll come up with different options because maybe that friendship is also important. But you won't put yourself down and then go out for that meeting and feel horrible about yourself because you gave up your workout, which was aligned with your values and what you had planned for that day. So you need to understand that saying no is good for our mental health. It's also good for our physical health. You go out with your friends and everyone's worrying you to binge drink and binge eat, and they say, come on, it's just one night. What are you doing? One life. But you know that today is not the day that you're supposed to do that. and you learn to politely say no, or you learn to assertively say no. Now that gives you strength. The more you practice saying no for the right reasons, the better you get at doing it. But a lot of people are afraid of saying no because they think people won't like them. Well, because you said no, if people don't respect you and like you anymore, those are not the kind of people that you want in your life anyway. So it all comes down again to building boundaries. And maybe tomorrow's whole life will be around building healthy boundaries. You have to have a boundary with your partner, with your loved one, with your parents, with your siblings, with your teachers, with your colleagues, with your bosses, with your employees. If you don't have a boundary drawn for everyone, the boundary is not a selfish thing. It's for you to stay within your value system and to make sure that people don't trespass into your boundaries and trample on your value system. There's nothing wrong with having that. It doesn't mean you don't love a person. It doesn't mean you don't respect a person. Yes, boundaries with your parents as well. Very, very important. Yes, mom, you can call me at this time. Unless it's really urgent, I'm always going to be here for you. But other than that, I work at this time, or I'm with my kid at this time. So please draw boundaries. A lot of people, when you draw boundaries or you say no, they try to use emotional guilt to make you feel bad about yourself. But they're just trying to use a weapon to get you to say yes because they can't handle a no. So you need to identify that as well. That people will emotionally try to hurt you and make you feel like a bad person when you said no. But if you said no because it's aligned with your priorities, your value system, and what you really needed to set out to do today, you should feel proud of yourself and let people around you adjust. Of course, like I said, sometimes accommodate emergencies. Sometimes we can bring a little bit of compassion, a little bit of kindness, but sometimes people try to emotionally blackmail you saying, oh, you're not a kind person because you said no. Can't you see my problems? Yes, I can see your problems and I can help you with your problems, but right now I can't do that. So I'm really sorry. No. As simple as that. So it requires us also to be vulnerable, that we may be rejected sometimes. People may say harsh words. You may lose a couple of friends or so-called friends, and that's okay. You don't want to sell yourself short to make other people happy who may not be happy. And you give in today, tomorrow they have more expectations from you. So if you go on saying yes, 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 when you really want to say no, you burn yourself out. And you reach a point where one day when you say no, it'll be too late. People will just term you as egoistic or proud or whatever it is. So you have to understand that to empower yourself personally, you have to learn the art of saying no. No to extra food. No to extra sugar. No to emotional abuse in relationships. A lot of people talk about conflict in their relationships. And my first question to them, have you all drawn boundaries? And the answer is no. If you don't have a boundary, you're bound to have conflict. And even if you have boundaries, you can have conflict, but the conflict can be managed way better. Of course, over boundaries, people will extend and use the power of their ego and their pride, and things always get dirty with that. But you have to have your boundaries. Your partner needs to know that this is not okay and what is okay. And likewise, about both people, your children, you need to set boundaries with them. If you don't have boundaries with your children, then you're worrying why they're disrespecting you today when they become teenagers and stuff. It's because you never drew boundaries. It's as simple as that. Everything needs boundaries. If you want property, there's a boundary. There's a boundary everywhere. And if you think you can get through life without drawing boundaries, then you're going to end up being this doormat where people just walk over you all the time. And then you find blame to blame them. Yes, they're bad people. They took advantage of you. They took you for granted. But whose fault was it initially? Yours. You didn't draw boundaries, and even if you drew boundaries, you didn't honor the boundaries that you drew. You still allowed people to walk into them. Now, sometimes people are stuck in different situations. Maybe an unhappy marriage, but you have a kid, there's nothing you can do, one partner financially dependent, or you're stuck with a disease and stuff like that. You can still draw boundaries, and if you're not doing that, it's fine. You have a disease, you can draw boundaries around that. Okay, these are the things I need to do for sure. These are the things I can be liberal with. These are the absolutely red flags that I cannot do if I want to get better. Boundaries drawn. Operate within your boundaries and live your life the way you want to over and above those boundaries. The same thing with a relationship. Half the men and young boys, girls and young women getting into relationships don't even know what they want in terms of boundaries, personal space. So they get into a relationship, it's all good in the beginning, and then as the relationship starts to move on and stuff like that, and personal differences are now magnified, all of a sudden partners feel they need space. If you had drawn boundaries in the beginning, You never really reach that stage unless someone's operating out of those boundaries, which many times they will do, that requires you to suddenly want that space. So you should know, you should be mature enough. Don't jump into relationships without drawing boundaries and knowing what your value system is. That this is absolutely not okay in a relationship. And if this happens, what would you do? You should even know that. So no one can use emotional control over you. Very, very clear. Like, it's very clear. The law is clear. If you rob something, this. You do this particular crime, that's what's going to happen. You know, you're very clear about the boundaries of the law. You have to have boundaries in every aspect of your life, your relationships, your family, your food, your exercise, your sleep. Boundaries. You want to be healthy, you know you need to sleep for 7 or 8 hours or whatever it is. What is the boundary that you draw? 10:30 is cutoff time no matter what. That's a boundary. You operate within that boundary, you get the results. You operate outside of that boundary, then all you find are instances to blame everyone for what you don't achieve in life. So sometimes you got to be honest with yourself. It's called finding your perfect truth or your perfect lie. Every human being has that perfect lie that they tell themselves, and they know that if they change that, their life can get better. And everyone has a perfect truth as well, that they know that if I do this, things can change, but they don't do it. Find your perfect truth and find your perfect lie. It helps you to draw boundaries and learn to say no. Learn to say no. Empower yourself. Teach your children to say no the right way. There's the disrespectful way, and then there's the right way. But if you don't teach your children how to say no as well, and they grow up to be people pleasers, okay, because they see what you do, that's a big problem for them. So while you may send them to schools and to tuitions and all of that stuff, never forget to teach them basic values at home of how to say no. And it's never too late for anyone to change. Now, here's what can happen if you've decided to empower yourself today and go and say no. Everyone that you've been saying yes to, even when you wanted to say no, and you suddenly start saying no today, there is going to be some conflict. Okay, there is, because someone's used to you always saying yes. Yes, I'll do this for you. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, sir, I'll complete this project. Yes, sir, I'll do that. Yes, ma'am, I'll do that. And all of a sudden you say no. Okay, so always back with a no, that no, you know, I've been doing this, but now it's infecting me. So yes, I can do this then, but today I have to say no. That's it. You don't have to justify yourself to anyone. When you're saying a no, don't make up stories, no one needs an explanation. You are saying no for your reasons, which you've already preconceived in alignment with your values and what serves you. So you never have to justify to anyone. Use the right tone, and I'm saying, sorry, I can't get this done today. I'm sorry, I don't like this particular behavior. And if it changes, I think things can get better. So the moment you start saying no to people, expect, because they're used to it. So what's the first thing that's going to happen to the person you say no? Their ego is going to be bruised. Their pride is going to be bruised. And then all the corresponding behaviors with a bruised ego and pride is going to come out. So be ready for that. Don't think if you go in with the foolish expectation that you can say no and everyone's going to be happy and celebrate. That's not going to happen. So don't set your expectations too high. Be ready that when you make change, there are going to be repercussions. And you are responsible for those repercussions. How you accept them, let go, how calmly you see them, and how calmly and gracefully you get through the situation. Empower yourself and learn how to say no. It is very helpful, and it teaches you self-respect. And when you have self-respect, your self-confidence goes up. Everything goes up. Your self-esteem goes up. And you lose nothing. I don't know anyone who decided to take control of their personal wellness and their health and their life, and they started to say no assertively, who lost all their friends. No, you lose the friends that you're meant to lose. And that's a good thing for your life. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.